There we go. Tiny one. Oh, and there's one following him. Re-rig that Tokyo rig. That other fish was just right there. Here we go. That was kind of cool. Not a huge one, but pretty fun. Caught a real tiny one there. This little guy was following him in. So I just re-rigged that worm on this Tokyo rig pretty quick and dropped it right on him. But I mean, that's what's kind of fun about fishing schooling bass in the summer, is you get on a point like this, or in any area really where those bass are going to be schooling. Points are in very obvious location. There's a nice grass line here. We can see it on 360, and there's some wind blowing into it, and there's just a lot of fish there. And a great way in the summer months to catch a bass is a big worm. You know, you can present a worm a ton of different ways. Carolina rig, Texas rig. I prefer Tokyo rig. I mean, if you look at your 360 and it's a clock, so we're right in the middle. The boat, we're spot locked into the wind. We're staying forward. If you lay your rod right on it, so we're at what, at about 2 o'clock, we got a nice weed point coming out here. Hard to soft transition, and that's the cast I'm gonna make. Point your rod tip right at it, make that cast. And so I landed right in here, and I'm just gonna drag it out to that edge. And those fish are just sitting right on that point. Anytime you're fishing, but especially in situations like we're in right now in the summer, we got 82-degree water. The fish are well into the post spawn. They're into that phase of where they're schooled up on points and everything. And it's just really important to pay attention to every single bite and where you're getting that bite. The ability, you know, to recognize what that fish came off of every time you get a bite. So I'm looking at my 360 and I can visualize right where my bait is inside that cover at every second of the cast. And so I can really pinpoint what those fish are sitting on. And you can repeat that cast then, because generally that school is gonna be there. And you know, whether it's 4 fish or whether it's 50 fish, you don't know, but you can repeat that cast until you stop getting bit. Ooh, that was a big one, just followed it in. It was burning it in. You can see that fish on 2D. He just shot straight down. There we go. Nice one, I think. Oh, that's fun. You know, having a versatile rig. Obviously, but you know, it was just burning it in to make another cast. And I watched that fish. He came screaming in after it. And so I just dropped straight vertically on him. You know, that Tokyo rig just falls straight down. And it's not a bad fish, you know, not a giant, but anytime you can get those bonus bites like that, it's definitely worth it. And he's just set up on this point again. You know, obviously I didn't catch him on my initial cast, but you know, I'm gonna take every bite I can get, and he still came off of that same little grass point. I just moved up a little further on the point and I changed my casting angle on that little grass point. He was living there. Obviously it was a little unorthodox the way I caught him, but it's still just, you know, dragging a worm across those little key structures on the main structure. So we're on a main point, then I was able to identify a secondary weed point on top of the main lake structure, which being able to dial in, you know, the spot on top of the spot can be really key in finding that group of fish and effectively fishing the entire area, or getting the most bites as possible out of an area. You know, I'm not saying that you have to have all this technology to fish offshore, but it does just make your life a lot easier. I'm so much more efficient when I'm out here fishing this main lake structure. You know, I'm able to make those pinpoint casts consistently. So I can cover an area and I know I covered the juice of that spot immediately, right? So I can cover that in 5 casts. If I'm not getting bit, I'm casting to the next little piece of structure that I'm seeing, and I'm always watching my 360 to look what's coming up. You know, I'm moving my boat around that point, and you know, you're gonna find those little subtle details inside of that main lake structure. Yes, you can come out here and it's pretty obvious. You come to this main lake point and you go whip a worm around, and yes, you will catch fish, but I can cover 3 points in the time that, you know, and be confident that I covered that whole point, covered it in spades, before somebody pulls up without 360 and covers that same point. So it's really an efficiency game, but it's definitely not necessary to be able to come out here and catch fish on this main lake stuff, but it definitely helps. Again, utilizing all your tools at hand. So I really enjoy the fact that dropping waypoints on these specific clumps of grass or these specific little tiny pieces of structure on top of the main structure. So when I come back here, or if I go to a new spot and let this school rest, I can pull up here and I know exactly what clumps I caught fish off of. And so this waypoint, you can see it's just coming in right up top. And I don't want to get, I've already fished this spot, so those fish are kind of pressured today. So I don't want to get too close to it. You know, I know what's there. I'm just gonna spot lock here. I'm facing into the wind, and this is the cast I'm making. I'm just pitching right out to it, straight off the bow of the boat. And I've already caught fish here today. Like, that's the thing, is I'm able to come in from the downwind side and not pressure those fish any more than I have to. And I can drop something like this Tokyo rig in there and get a few more bites. It's a no-brainer. Now I can just creep up and make that cast immediately right here. Right off the front of the boat. And look at that. See, it's just like that. You know, that's not a big fish, but he ate the worm. Oh, oops, sorry, buddy. You know, not a very big one, but he was dang near right on that waypoint, and I was able to creep into that and make that cast knowing what was there. There we go. See, I just pitched right back to that waypoint again. This one's a little bit better fish. I'm just gonna, oh, no it's not. He's just a strong one. A little bit bigger. Still not that big, but you get the picture of fishing offshore structure with 360. You know, we're just running main lake points. Again, not a huge fish, he's just a fighter. And I was able to come into a point that I've already fished today, you know, caught some fish off of it with some different techniques, and able to come back with a worm in the Tokyo rig and creep into my waypoint, pitch into that little grass patch, and catch a couple more fish with it. So put another worm on and get bit again.